Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. The topics on the table for you guys today, and we've got some very interesting ones, by the way. Christopher Nkunku swap deal, or maybe even taking him on loan. The latest reports from Sky coming in this morning about that. Antony arrives in Seville, ahead of his loan move to Real Betis. Dorgu bid rejected. The second one, will we go back in for him? Maybe that'll happen today, maybe it won't. And also there is some news around TV rights in terms of going into dressing rooms, interviewing managers at half-time and these kind of things, which me and Shreyas have touched on before, but there's a little bit more detail on that. So let's kick it off with the Nkunku swap deal, Shreyas, because this is the hottest topic at the minute, and I'm quite conflicted, and simply because, one, I love him as a player. And I was saying that when I was at Leipzig that United should be in for him. But when you look at it in terms of being a good deal for us, does it fit that category? Because you look at his injury situation, you look at Garnacho, the money that you could potentially get for him. How do you reflect on this deal?
The thing is, right now, when it comes to Nkunku, during his stint at RB Leipzig, he was someone who was very, very electric. He was, and I would say, considering the type of formation we play and the type of players that we actually need in the system, he can do a very good job in this sort of a setup. The only thing is, I think at the moment, with how Nkunku's performances and his spell at Chelsea has been, a direct swap deal wouldn't really be as helpful to us. I
Yeah.
think when it comes to Garnacho, I think we can actually get more money. Even if it is an Nkunku swap deal, I think a scenario where we get Nkunku plus some cash would at least be a fair offer. Entertaining the offer is a different scenario, but just as a fair offer, I don't think that Nkunku alone is a fair offer for someone like Garnacho. He's got age on his side, he's got massive potential on his side as well. So if United are going to be selling him for anything less than 65 million, I don't think that we're making the right move. Because if when you take someone out of that team as well and you're getting that 65 million in, you need to get someone in who can actually replace him and fill that position in the team as well. And in the January market, trying to make those signings actually is a lot more problematic.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just going to pull up his injury record here on screen. I'll cover my face rather than yours, Shreyas. People don't want to see my face. But it is quite stark because... Oh, no, sorry, another finger. Oh, yeah, I put it over there. Hamstring injury, 68 days. So this is just whilst he's at Chelsea. Hip injury, 24 days. Okay. Knee injury, 110 days. Fitness, 44 days. Torn muscle fibre, 40 days. Fitness, 11 days. Torn lateral knee ligament, 84 days. Wrist injury, 4 days. Like, these are big, big injuries that he's picking up. And he's not like he's a young nipper anymore. I believe he's 27 years old, I think, somewhere around that kind of area. That is a worry in itself, isn't it? Especially you consider how bad we've struggled with injuries at the moment.
Yeah, and we're not really in a position where we can afford to actually make that sort of a gamble that when he's fit, he can be very good. We've already got Mason Mount in.
Yeah.
All credit to Mason Mount. I think as a player, he's very talented in the system, can be exceptional. But if he's not fit to play for us, then it doesn't really make that much sense. And the same goes for Nkunku, I would say. Right now, especially I would say in the attack, I think the attack already is very delicate when it comes to Manchester United. I think whoever it is that we end up going for, I think it needs to be someone who can come in and hit the ground running. It
Yeah.
needs to be someone who comes in and actually elevates the level of this attack, can get the best out of Hoyland, can get the best out of Ahmad and Bruno alongside them as well, because that's the only way that this attack can actually function. So, and I don't think that right now Nkunku is the answer for that question. Someone who comes in, hits the ground running, um, is able to actually, solve our goal scoring issue for the most part in this team and actually take us at least into that top 8 conversation. I think if we're going to be selling Garnacho, we need to be looking at players who can at least help us take a little leap in the table, at least help us, like we've mentioned a lot of time as well, become that talisman for this team. That when things aren't really going that way, he's someone people can look onto and they can actually, coast us through a couple fixtures.
Yeah. So the initial news that got broke on this was from Florian Plettenberg, who was saying, a swap deal has been discussed. United and Chelsea had initial talks about potential separate deals, and at the end of December, I think it was, not a swap deal. So that's why there's kind of rumours are floating about. But then Sky Sports, literally an hour before we went live, I've reported that United discussing whether to make a loan move for Nkunku. A permanent move is thought to be highly unlikely because obviously his game time at Chelsea has been lacking. But when he has played, the majority, I think, has been in the Conference League. He has scored quite a few goals. He has got quite a few assists. He's desperate to play. You keep hearing reports from that. So is it a loan? Can we do a loan? And do you think that loan only happens if Garnacho is sold?
I think a loan needs to happen either way,
Mm.
genuinely, because this attack is very light. They need some new faces into that attack to actually, at least create some sort of form, some sort of consistency in that attack. Because right now, it's only Bruno or Ahmad that are actually getting us through games. That's the only way we're actually winning games right now, is if both of them are able to pull something from the bag of tricks. So I think a loan move is something which is much safer, because even if it doesn't work out, you're not in a place where you've given a player like a 3 or 4 year contract, and now you're going to be struggling to just, you signed him in the January window and then you're struggling to offload him in the next season itself. So a loan move is much safer. Depends on how that loan is actually crafted.
Yeah, I agree. A loan I wouldn't be opposed to, but it just depends on the specifics, like what's happening on the other side of things. Is it that's only if Garnacho goes, or are you going to do that regardless? Because I do think, for in terms of a systematic fit, Nkunku in one of those attacking tens is perfect for him because he's not.
Even as a striker in this setup,
Yeah.
even as a striker, he can do a lot of damage because he's got the pace, he's got that sort of dynamism and energy. And when it comes to, working off the ball as well, he can coordinate a press. So if he's fit, and I'm taking into consideration the way he played at Leipzig, because they played a 4-2-2 as well, a little closer when it comes to, the sort of formation we play. So it can work out. But if you're going to be going in with the analogy that this will work out and we need to get him in and there is no other option for us to look at, that would be a wrong decision.
Yeah, you will look at his record. I mean, at Leipzig, in the Bundesliga, should I say, he had like 50 goals and 50 assists, close to that in 117 appearances, I think it was. No, 47 goals, 43 assists. So 100 goal involvements in 119 games. This isn't an average player that we are talking about. Obviously played, like you said, he's played as a second striker at Leipzig. He's played as a 10. He's literally played all over the park, pretty much. Very similar to Danny Olmo. Yeah. Can do the majority of jobs. So as a player, I really, really like him, and he would fit Amarin's system, but only a loan. That's the only thing I'm doing. Only a loan deal. And obviously it depends on his wages as well, because his wages are going to be pretty significant. But with the next piece of news that we're going to discuss, Shreyas, with Antony going to Real Betis and going on loan, apparently we're saving near to £2 million by him going there. So obviously his wages off the books in that sense. Again, I don't know how much Nkunku is on, but I doubt it's more than Antony, because we give him a stupid wage, didn't we? So I'd imagine it's probably similar there or thereabouts. So there's your gap.
Yeah, and if we are still somehow able to offload Marcus Rashford in this window, then probably you get much more leverage. I think United do need to make one exit, like a permanent exit. They need to make it in this window if they actually, want to go out of their way and sign a left back, sign an attacker, sign someone else in as well into this team, because we all know that this team is in desperate need for reinforcements, whether you look at the defense, whether you look at the midfield, or even in the attack. So that can only happen when certain faces go out and certain faces come in. Now, players who fit into that category are Rashford, Casemiro, Eriksen, Luke Shaw, Mount as well. So the moment you are able to get these players out the window, you have a lot more leverage to work in the transfer market, rather than the kind of position that United are in right now.
Yeah, I agree. Let us know your thoughts on Antony going out to Real Betis, if you think he'll do a good job there. I'm very curious to see. I mean, I'm not expecting him to go there and fucking light it up, because we've seen him for the past couple of years and he's been absolutely dog shit. But I think that the main purpose of loans for the majority of time, Shreyas, is just game time first and foremost, but try to get some sort of fucking resale value on him. That's going to be the main mission, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just don't know what to expect as an end result of this loan, because
No.
it can be a very, very good possibility that Antony ends up at United next season once again, and we
Yeah.
are not able to offload him. The best case scenario is he goes up to Real Betis, founds that form that he had at Ajax. He's able to channel it in that Betis lineup, able to put them like in a top 6 or a top 7 position. He's able to prove effective. We might be able to get a couple of deals. But if he's not, and he continues the way that he has been at United for the past 1.5, 2 years, then we're going to be in the same situation where Antony sticks it out at the club.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's see what everyone else is saying because there's loads of comments in the chat. Random guy saying, just my opinion, the Nkunku deal will not happen. The reason why Ineos are looking to sell Garnacho is purely for money. Swapping him makes no sense. Yeah, so that's what that was going to be the next kind of thing that I want to talk about. With the PSR situation, they want to sell him because it's pure profit on the books, right? And it gives you this kind of big green bonus margin that you can work with. I don't know how that would work if Garnacho goes, so his wages are off the books, and technically he's sold, but then Nkunku comes the other way, and if there are no fees involved, I don't know. I mean, you're getting into really complicated kind of financial process there, right? I don't know how that would work, to be honest.
Yeah, we are already facing a lot of technicalities at the moment.
Yeah.
When it comes to our structure, and we barely made it out. So it's already a very complicated deal to do. And I think having that sort of money coming in from a deal is going to prove much more fruitful to us, because we still really don't know what type of shortlist United is actually working with at the moment. Because this could genuinely be something that is being pushed more from the players agent side or from the players side, because Nkunku hasn't really been getting a sniff when it comes to Prem football for Chelsea, or the bigger matches for Chelsea. It's been Cole Palmer who's been absolutely amazing playing in that 10 position. And then you've got other players like Madueke, you've got Sancho, you've got Neto, who've been accumulating more minutes. So could be something that the player or player agent is pushing more. Maybe United don't really have him on his radar as much as certain other players. So we'll only know more as the window progresses. Up until now, the only thing that I do feel is that we will end up signing someone on as a left back. That's the only thing that I'm still feeling a bit confident about.
Well, you just give me the perfect segue. Let's talk about Patrick Dorgu. We found out last night that United's second offer of £27 million for Patrick Dorgu has been rejected by Lecce. Talks will continue this weekend. United and Lecce have a €5 million gulf in valuation over Dorgu following United's second offer. There is optimism a deal can be reached. More club-to-club talks are planned over the weekend, so probably as we're talking right now. It's a weird situation with this. There's a lot of debate going on about how much we should pay for someone of his caliber, let's just say, someone who plays for the team that he does, not loads of international experience, not loads of European experience, but Lecce are in a relegation battle and want to keep hold of their best players. So from that point, it's kind of understandable why they would want to keep hold of him. But surely when push comes to shove, around £30 million is probably about right, isn't it?
Yeah, because you can't really exceed that, I would say, threshold, because that's when you actually create a problem in the market. And with it is not like Dorgu is a seasoned professional. He's someone he's very young.
Yeah.
He's only become a pro. He's not really had even, I would say, 50 or 70 appearances for Lecce on the pro level. So he's a very young player. He's talented, no doubt. He's been very good for for that team, but I don't think you can exceed over 30 million for that sort of a player. You genuinely cannot. And maybe it's wise to move and look into alternative options in the market to actually get someone else in, because we can't be in a position where we're held hostage by a club like Lecce, that we won't really offload this player if you don't give that sort of amount. We've done the same with Bransford during the Everton deal. We had our last call, we had our last offer in for that player. Everton weren't really able to entertain it, so we moved on and we signed Euro. So I'm sure they must have other options.
Yeah.
I'm very, very sure they've got other players on their radar as well who fit the bill. Because Dorgu came out of nowhere. We weren't really hearing any rumors about Dorgu. The only players that we were hearing about was Alphonso Davies and Andre Robinson. Kerr is being, uh, you know, thrown around by certain reporters. So I'm sure they have some certain other players as well who could probably come in and do a job for us.
Yeah. I don't know what the what our list is looking like if we do have kind of a contingency plan or alternatives, but I haven't seen any names whatsoever apart from the
Yeah,
ones quite literally you just mentioned. Alphonso Davies is someone I'm a massive fan of, but he's definitely got, well, it looks like he's definitely going to sign a new deal. They're finally happy with the wages that Bayern are offering, so it's kind of like, that's not going to happen. And Anthony Robinson or Kirkes or anyone like that is definitely not going to happen in July, in my opinion, simply because of the finances involved.
you
And
left only with Alvaro.
they're higher than us in the table. You know what I mean? We're just about to play Fulham on tomorrow, and they're probably going to finish higher. So that's another situation where you're like, well, yeah, it's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. So I think United in this situation, because because they've left it late again, we've got 6 days left of the window, maybe 7 at a push. You're gonna have to
Do you
it,
take
aren't you?
Alvaro back? Do you take
I,
16?
I don't personally take him because I think he's a very good player. I think he's doing very well for Benfica, but I think we need the physical profile more. And I don't think it necessarily fits that. Technically, he's very good, and he's a very good attacking wing back. But we need. I was discussing yesterday with Aaron. We have big spacing issues. We have strength issues in the team, and Dorgu, strong, physically athletic, like covers
Even
space
Diego
really
Leon,
well.
very strong, very
Do you
athletic.
know what I mean? We need that
Yeah.
explosive kind of wing backs, and I don't think he fits that mold. I'm not saying he wouldn't do well if he did come here, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I think he's very good as a wing back. I think again, and for a player to cause as many issues as he did against a team like Barcelona,
Yeah,
I'm sure that he's got talent. Whether it's the right move for him to make now is the question because he's a former player. He knows how the club works, and right now I would say it is not a very good environment for a youngster who's just finding his feet or just actually seen a rise in form to actually move to the club when we are in that much issue.
yeah,
But if I would take him if he's the only viable option left. Like if it was like you sign Norman or Alvaro, I would take Alvaro because we do need someone to actually come in and play naturally as a wing back in that position.
yeah. I mean, Random's asking James in the chat there, should we walk away for the Dorgu deal? Random's saying I
We
definitely
should.
would. James is saying, I don't know why we continue to shop in Italy. There's no money over there, so every club want a premium, and imports from Serie A are very hit and miss. That's a very good point. They are. It seems to be whatever players go from Man United and the Premier League to Italy do really well. Whatever players come over from Italy to the Premier League don't do really well. There's a handful of players that I can think of off the top of my head who've done extremely well in the Premier League who've transferred over from the Serie A. I mean, Henry, Vieira, Zola. Pretty sure Bergkamp came over from Serie A as well, but they're obviously players from ages ago. I think about more recent signings. I remember when West Ham signed Schumacher. He scored like 30 goals. Came to West Ham,
Osasuna,
just completely flopped. Completely flopped.
Tonali has worked.
Who was that?
Tonali has worked at Newcastle.
Tonali, yeah, I would probably say that, yeah. And a lot of people thought, a lot of money for him at the time. Like, I'm not sure if that's going to translate, but he looks good now for sure.
Udogie has worked for.
Yeah, and Udogie was bought for 20 million, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, 20.
It's.
And Theo Hernandez at AC Milan is being quoted for around 75 or 80 mil. So is the gap between Dorgu and Theo Hernandez just 40 million euros?
Yeah. It's a weird one, isn't it? I don't know about let's have a look. Defenders who have gone from Serie A to the Premier League. What should just be a gigantic list now of Calafiore, obviously was one who's obviously he looked really good in the Euros, but I don't think that's worked out at Arsenal for me personally from what I've seen from him. Someone who's really interesting who I really like at Bournemouth is Howson. I don't know if you've watched much. Really, really good.
Spain are able to just produce these sort of young gems, and if you look at him, playing out the back, the way he has got the ability to move the ball with his feet into midfield, he's genuinely a very, very good player. And I actually thought that he was around 23 or 24 when I looked into it and I saw his age. And
crazy, isn't it?
I don't think he's going to be sticking around for Bournemouth for more than 2 seasons. I'm sure that a big club, maybe even Barcelona, actually, pick him up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, You're giving me all the segues today, Shreyas, let me tell you, because we're going to discuss Marcus Rashford next, who has instructed his agent, apparently, to inform Deco that he is ready to take a pay cut. I think Deco's Barcelona's sporting director. Take a pay cut to join Barcelona. Barcelona's always been his favoured option. Obviously, he's very close to Milan, but now AC Milan have signed Kyle Walker, and they can't sign any more British players. Borussia Dortmund like him as well, but they cannot afford his salary or anywhere near close to that, so that looks unlikely. Barcelona need to trim players off the squad, but at the same time, they have got wingers in Lamel, Torres, Rafinha. So I'm not quite sure where even Rashford would fit in there.
Yeah,
that's a bit mad.
Maybe as a 9.
Yeah, I mean, well, Lewandowski is what, 36 now, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe to look at that, but Barcelona taking Rashford as a 9. Is that where we're at in this climate in 2025?
I mean, if they want to take him, I wouldn't, give them any reasons to. I mean,
no. I mean, if anyone's listening from Barcelona, just ignore everything I've just said. But again, I'm trying to think. A lot of these deals don't make sense to me. It sounds like end of January deals for me. Typically, you know what I mean? Where it's like dead sporadic and random.
Yeah, but even if it does happen, I wouldn't be really surprised because Barca have been making some very rash calls in the transfer window in the past few years. I still remember that one season they signed Traore, Aubameyang played for Barcelona as well. So you don't know what's going to happen, and Ferran Torres might be on his way out, so they do need some. I don't know in which capacity he fills in, because if he thinks he fills in as a winger in that system, not going to happen. Rafinha is in the form of his life. Yamal is probably the next big thing coming out of Spain. So the only way he fits in is as a 9, because even as a 10, Danny Olmo's spot is going nowhere.
Yeah, I agree with that. Marcus Rashford, I mean, we need to sort this out, because if he ends up staying and we don't bring in someone else, or he's just kind of sat there by the wayside, not really doing anything, it's kind of like, I can't be arsed with another 6 months, because that's all it's going to be, is just fucking, oh, well, when is he going to move? And they're constantly asking Amarin about it, and I can't be arsed with me. I'm just completely done.
I think at this point, the most important thing is to actually, get him out of the club, because he's already being paid a lot when it comes to his wages, and him not even making the bench actually hurts us and his evaluation. The more, he stays at the club and, gets no minutes. So even if I would say this, even if we get like a 35 million or 40 million offer right now for Rashford, I would take it, because it maybe, by taking that sort of offer right now, we get someone in as a replacement, and maybe it just helps us in edging someone in the Europa League or just in the FA Cup, and at least make something out of the season.
Yeah. Random saying, I thought the same, but Mendes rejected the move, and I'm pretty sure Kirkes will snub us for Liverpool. 20 million euros is the price for an average wing back from the Italian league. I think that is spot on, to be fair, because it had a Brighton or a Fulham or someone like that had gone in for this player, they would have accepted 25 million. But because it's United, because they know they're desperate and it's a budget or whatever, they're pushing it even more. We've got Aaron joining us in the chat as well. Hopefully having a nice weekend, and it's not crowded by your kids, basically. Yeah, but hopefully it's not too busy for you, Aaron. James McGoggin saying, bloody Dortmund chatting about poverty again, sod off. It's like the 100 million they got from Bellingham disappeared. It's Dortmund and Italian clubs always cry wolf, like they've got no money. I mean, Napoli, when you ask them for a player,
this season as well.
Yeah, when you ask them for a player, it's like, fucking, we want 150 million, nothing less. That's the price tag. If you don't pay, then you're gone. And then when they were like, oh, well, we can't afford 50, fuck off. Pay the money, or you're not having him. Simple as that for me. Absolutely. Last story we're going to discuss, Shreyas, is this coming out from the Times Sport. So apparently broadcasters are in talks with Premier League and FA about interviewing managers, coaches, and even substituted players during the matches next season. TNT and Sky Sports are pushing for more access, which also includes the idea of filming inside dressing rooms. Is that getting too much, do you think?
It is, because we just heard that during the Brighton game, I'm going to smash the TV screen.
Yeah. So, oh my God, imagine the views. That's why they want it, because imagine the views on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And imagine someone goes in with a camera, Amram takes that camera as well and just smashes it on the floor.
Oh my God.
I just don't think that it's the right call to make. You've already got enough going on the pitch to actually get clips from. You've already got enough from the post-match conferences as well to make clips from. This is something that is genuinely not needed. Genuinely
Yeah.
not needed.
I like the idea of it. Don't get me wrong. Like, if we've just had a Manchester derby and we've won, let's say for example,
Yeah, it
and
depends on us winning.
yeah, it depends on us winning. I think, and then they go into these like live dressing room scenes. You know, like after the FA Cup final when we won that, and you had like Lecce and Rashford with the trophy, and they're all celebrating bits like that. I'd be like, yeah, I'd happy to kind of watch that kind of stuff and the reactions. But then when you've been battered, let's say Liverpool just beat you 4-0, and the players
Yeah.
going to try to hammering, throwing shit, and you kind of like, I don't know if that'd be good for the club.
Certain players are
To be
crying.
honest, I think a lot of clubs would go against that.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a
The
pushback
one
against
thing I
that.
would have liked to see was when we knocked Arsenal out of the FA Cup. What happened
Yeah.
in the dressing room after that game?
Yeah, it feels very Americanized to me that. I feel
Yeah.
like America do that quite a lot, where it becomes more commercials and more kind of about the interviews rather than the actual game itself. I think it's quite the product that we have in England at the moment with the Premier League is it's the best league in the world by far in terms of coverage, in terms of competition. Like look at the league table at the minute, Shreyas. The way the Prem is, it's absolutely
Forest, Bournemouth,
mental.
Fulham actually being up there.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest, who nearly got relegated last season with 33 points, are third with 44 points currently. Chelsea, who everyone was writing off last season, sacked Poch. There was a huge uproar there, currently fourth at the moment. Man City with the drop-off they've had. Bournemouth is fucking seventh. United are 13th. Tottenham 15th. Like, it's absolutely madness. So that's
Imagine
the league. Crazy.
Just imagine we play Spurs. It's like a game where the winner is actually able to rescue themselves from relegation. Loser goes down.
I don't even want to think of that. The thought of that actually like makes me a little bit sick. I'm not gonna lie. But that is the reality of the situation. Look, we are going to be live for the game tomorrow. It's a weird kickoff time, but I have no idea why. The kickoff time is I think 7 o'clock, so we'll be live at 6, and we'll be live with a post-match reaction as well as always. But we'll also be live we're going to bring it back Sunday Social tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And with the amount of transfer stories that's ongoing at the moment, it should be a very busy show. So, look, go and enjoy your weekend, everyone. Appreciate you all taking time out of your day to come and join me and Shreyas today to discuss this, the news and the club that we love. If you can leave a like on the video for us, please do. Subscribe to the channel. We're on 11,335 subs. On the road to 50k. Let's get there together. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you to Shreyas as well for your time, brother. And hopefully you have a nice weekend as well. And United can't ruin it, Shreyas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Technically, they can't.
Yeah, technically. Just a couple of hours, probably. Yeah. Right. Take it easy, everyone. Appreciate every single